Today, we continue to hear from the silent witnesses who were there participating in the crucifixion of Jesus in unique ways. We now hear from the nail.
Excuse me, I wonder if you could give me just a few minutes of your time. Here I go again. First, I was talking with a thorn, then rogue. Now I'm trying to talk to a whale. But that's decided. I understand that you witnessed some unusual happenings concerning the one they call Jesus of Nazareth. Is that true? Would you mind telling us your impressions of what took place?
Yes, I had a few moments. You know, it wasn't easy becoming me.
How do you mean?
Oh, to you I'm just a nail. That I started out as a bunch of dust, trussed into a rock, and held together by a common bond. There was a lot of heat applied until I melted. Then I was poured into a mold, and that's how I got my shape.
That's a rather exciting background. Its beginning is almost as old as time itself, and that involves a lot of human ingenuity. Mining, smelting, shaping.
After all that, the bales just get piled up with others that are kind to a box or a barrel, and wait and wait and wait until someone needs us.
Now you're making it sound kind of boring.
Oh, big a nail can't be very boring. All of that waiting until I'm needed, waiting until someone picks me from all the rest. Even then, when I'm finally used, I'll just stay where I am for as long as I last, usually holding two pieces of wood together. Boring. But don't be fooled, though. Nails dream dreams too. Exciting dreams.
Dreams?
I had hoped to be used in some important way. Maybe I'd be used in the construction of a fine building. Maybe even a palace, or at least a monument of some sort. But it was more than likely that I would end up being used for a cow stall. You realize that nails are not well respected?
No, I guess I never thought of it.
Let's face it, we're cold and harmed, especially hard-headed when we're doing our job. People badmouth us by saying that someone is as hard as nails. I'm not sure though if that's an insult or a compliment, now that I think about it. They talk about being so angry like it's better males. It's awkward to admit that in order to be useful, I have to be hit on the head by a hammer. I guess some people are like that too. They need to get their attention or motivate them to be what they're intended to be. But that's enough about me. You want to hear about when I witnessed that awesome day? Or was it an awful day?
We really would like to hear about that unusual day from your vantage point.
Well, I was just resting on the pile with the other males when a soldier came over and reached into the box and grabbed 3 of us. He wasn't particular which ones of us he grabbed. See, I'm not special. Any good yells. But my hope, for a few moments at least, I thought it was going to find me and used in an important way.
Important?
After all, it was a government official who needed me and my 2 witnesses, associates.
I see.
My dream was shattered quickly, though. As soon as my head was out of the box, I could see that there was a horrible event taking place. It was what they call a crucifixion, a legal killing of criminals. I figured I was going to be used to hold a cross together.
I imagine you were a bit disappointed.
I was crushed. I was a broken nail. All of my hopes seemed shattered. Being part of a crucifixion wasn't the worst of it, though.
Oh?
It got even worse than I could imagine. I found out that I wasn't going to hold two pieces of wood together to form a cross. No. I was to hold a human being to the cross. Now that's how it was done, Lucy. The criminals were nailed to the cross. I heard the crowd shouting and yelling, "Crucify him!" Others crying and screaming, "He's guilty of no crime, he's innocent." You can't kill an innocent man. That really made me feel uneasy. What if he's less innocent? I'd be helping to perpetrate an injustice. That thought caused my whole being to feel as though it could just crumble into a pile of rust.
That must have confined me. Please share some more with us.
So the soldier came and picked me up roughly in his hand. He carried me over to where there was a man lying on the cross beam, his arms outstretched, his eyes looking up into the sky. He didn't look like a criminal. What if he really lost his? Before I could know it, my point was pushed against the palm of the man's hand. That was the most peculiar moment.
Can you tell us how you felt right then? I mean, realizing that instead of being found using wood as nails usually are, you are about to be added to killing flesh.
It's hard to explain how I felt, and it's commonly even hard to believe.
Please try, Yupe.
When my point touched his ordinary hair, and I thought that was odd, his hand was wide open, as if it was inviting a nail to hold it to the cross. It wasn't clenched in anger. It was open and relaxed. Well, as I started to say, when I touched his hand, some peculiar feelings went through me. For one thing, I felt as though this hand had enough power in it to resist any nail if it wanted to. There seemed to be strength beyond description, strength that could cause me to bend at submission if that's what he wanted to do. In addition to that strength, there was a softness, not weakness, mind you. I knew the difference. A softness that felt to me as though it must be what human beings call love. There was a warmth then, almost an invitation to touch him and even to be driven through his head into the rough wood of the cross.
Strength and softness.
That was odd enough, but there was something else. My eyes aren't very good, you see. Sure, we nails use our heads, but we are not known for good eyesight. Anyway, I didn't recognize the man lying there, and yet there was something familiar about him.
Familiar.
I cried twice at first. Then it hit me, no pun intended. This hand felt very much like one I had felt before. You see, a few years ago, I was in a nail box of a carpenter. That's right, waiting to be used by him. One day he reached into the box and pulled me out. Just as he was about to strike me with a hammer, someone came in to him and told him news about a prophet, John somebody. Well, this prophet was baptized at people nearby. I was put back in the box, and then I heard something very confusing.
Confusing?
He said, "It's time to be about my Father's business." Then he left the cell and headed out towards the woods.
And you found out refusal?
Why would he say he was going to be about his father's business and leave what was his father's shop, now his business, and head across the country? Oh, how should I know? I'm just a nail with a hard head and no rain.
Please tell us more.
Back at that world day, poised over that open hand at the cross. To make a long story short, actually the story is short, but only about 3 hours long, but it seemed like years at the time.
And
Yes. As I started to say, just then a heavy hammer struck me on the head and drove me into that warm, open, powerfully soft hand. I broke no bones as I passed through. That seemed unusual too. But has it been very unusual? I held him of the cross through the whole ordeal until his body was removed. He died quickly, and that was it.
well, what happened, God? I mean, we know what happened to him, but what happened to you? Your story can't end there.
I was cruel to him across, and from his life was shared, and just passed the sorry.
That's all? That's it?
The weather and the time are taking their toll on me. I don't mind though. I began as dust, and then returned to dust. That makes me content. The best news is that it wasn't my fault. That loving innocent man dying on a cross. In fact, it's your fault. Your sin is milking there. But it was his love for you that kept you there. And as a result of what happened later, he promises that even though you came from dust and will return to dust, you have the promise of eternal life with him. No more violence, just peace and the warmth that I felt briefly twice in my life. I knew he was filled with love and power. I felt it. But aren't you glad he let his love and me hold him on the cross? Well, that's the way I witnessed what happened that day. I will never forget it. By the way, I hope you won't need to be hit over the head with a heavy hammer in order to be motivated to answer God's call. After all, it all happened for me. And if you think he did because he loved you,
Yes.
well, you've hit the nail right on the head.
Thank you for telling us what you witnessed at that awesome event. How blessed are you to worship people of Jesus.
How blessed you are that he has touched your hearts.